Today on TimesCast, Italy's long relationship with Libya complicates its role in NATO's mission. Stone tablets along Japan's coast trace a 600-year history of tsunami warnings and a reflection on the work of documentarian and conflict photographer Tim Hetherington, killed Wednesday in Misrata, Libya.
Italy on Wednesday decided to join France and Britain in sending 10 advisors to help out the rebels in eastern Libya. This is one of the latest steps that Italy has taken in order to help the NATO intervention to oust Colonel Gaddafi. This has been actually a very complicated role for Italy to play. Italy is the former colonial power in Libya and has long-standing ties there and billions of dollars in energy contracts in Libya, which provides a quarter of Italy's natural gas. Now, the situation as a member of NATO and as a country with close ties to Libya and to Gaddafi has placed this government under great strain. In fact, last week, Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi told a group of journalists that he was so reluctant to have Italy join the coalition to oust Gaddafi that he considered resigning, and his advisors told him that that was not a good idea. He felt that he had helped cultivate ties with Libya over the years and that it was hardly appropriate for Italy to be kind of on different sides of the issue here. One of the greatest consequences of the Libya intervention for Italy is immigration. Since the unrest began in Tunisia in January, thousands of immigrants have left, mostly Tunisia and increasingly Libya, on boats and headed to Italy. In recent days, tensions between Italy and France have been growing extremely high because Italy has decided to give temporary 6-month residence permits to many of these immigrants who've come from Tunisia. Now, Italy says these permits are valid in the rest of the European Union. And France says, no, a residence permit in Italy doesn't mean you can come to France and try to find work. And so the border between Italy and France now is rather tense, and the French are patrolling it quite, seriously to prevent these immigrants who've come from Italy into France. So for now, it seems like some of the clearest collateral damage, as it were, to come out of the Libya intervention is the European Union itself, which is profoundly divided over immigration, over how to handle the thousands of immigrants who are expected to come from North Africa to Europe in the coming weeks and months.
In Japan, a long history of tsunamis is documented in stone.
One of the things I've seen here as I've reported on the tsunami and the aftermath, in many of the towns they have these stones that can be several decades old, or in some cases even hundreds of years old, which stand as warnings about past tsunamis that have struck here. The stones often contain very simple instructions of what to do during a tsunami. For example, if there's a large earthquake, head to high ground. One of the most interesting of these stones is located in a town called Anayoshi, a very small village of 34 people. And it's perfectly intact. The stone says, do not build below this point. And the stone itself sits about a mile inland. And the interesting thing is the waters actually reached about 300 feet shy of the stone. If you go beyond the stone towards the sea, it's just complete and total devastation. The warnings in a lot of the stones seem to have gone unheeded. There was this sense that modern construction and concrete wave walls could protect the towns from tsunamis, and these all proved completely ineffectual. One of the lessons that's come out of this tsunami is the value of the old teaching that these modern concrete wave walls couldn't stop the tsunami, but this old sort of folklore teaching of if there's a big earthquake, go to high ground. It turns out that was the most effective thing for saving lives.
And on Wednesday, in Misrata, Libya, 3 photographers were injured and conflict photographer and documentarian Tim Hetherington was killed. Hetherington is probably best known for his Oscar-nominated documentary Restrepo about the war in Afghanistan. In June 2010, Times photographer Michael Camber interviewed Hetherington about the philosophy behind his dangerous work.
I'm not interested in photography as the implication that it's shot and it's still with this photographic camera. It's that. What I'm giving you is I'm giving you an image with the implication that this is authentic, that this has happened, and that it hasn't been. The image represents something that actually happened in real life. That is the most important relationship with the audience, and that's something that's true.
Tim Hetherington was 40.